absolutely. But we are thrilled to have you here today, sir.
I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Guys, we're joined today by Professor Wilson Wong, Director and Associate Professor of Data Science and Policy Studies at the Faculty of Social Science, the Chinese University of Hong Kong. He's the lead editor of Data and Policy, a flagship journal dedicated to the impact of data science on policy and governance by Cambridge Press. And today is going to be talking about AI digital transformation in the social services sector, a lit review, benefits, challenges, enablers. Very hot topic, especially as we look at the potential of AI in our own social services here in the US, if you believe what DOGE is putting out anyway. So we're very, very thrilled to have you, Professor Wong. Thanks for being here, and the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming. I'm really excited to be here. It's actually my honor that I can make my presentation here because I don't want to bore you of your view of the PowerPoint. So I usually make my presentation standing up. So I hope you don't mind that I just sit down and move my PowerPoint and sitting down. But when I answer your question, I can stand up again. So.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
This is already the second time I made my presentation. The last time I can speak for an hour. So I'm not going to speak for an hour today. But definitely in the PowerPoint, I have so much to share with you. I actually choose the days of this presentation on purpose. I only arrived at on Monday night. So this is only my third day to be here. I will stay here until the 27th of April. So that if you're interested in any topics I have mentioned in my PowerPoint, let me know. By the way, I'm very happy to share with you my PowerPoint too. So you don't have to take photos. If you're interested in any slide, I already sent my PowerPoint to Kristen, and she will send it to everybody, I believe, upon your request. So as agreed with Scott, I will start talking at 12:35. And then we will have at least 25 minutes for Q&A.
And not a minute longer, right? Yeah, that's going to be fun.
So today, basically, although the title is about literature review, but it's more about sharing with you the agenda I currently have about AI and digital governance. So I'm going to talk about the background first, and then I'll zoom into the literature review, and then I'll zoom out again to some of the important issues that I think we should all look at, if you are interested in about how the AI impact on society, employment, and other issues that are important. So basically, those are my most major research agenda right now. I'm studying about AI digital transformation at different levels. I think they're all connected, and that's why I classify them as organizational level. Basically, how organizations, particular public organization, adopt AI technology and how it impact on their structure, values, and other rules they may follow, and also at the country level and the global level. So country level is all US, China, competition. So we can talk more about that if you are interested in it. It's also part of my research area. But for this particular research I'm going to present is more about the future of work, future of education, and also the future of governance and organizations. And actually, some of the material are from a new course I created in my university. It is called the AI Governance and Public Policy. So I already collect so much information from my course, and that's why I can keep talking and talking for an hour, for hours. But I'm not going to do that. I will stop right at 12:35. So the whole idea of the AI and future of work, future education, and future of governance is AI is replacing human beings. To a certain extent, not everything. So it affects how we construct our work and also how we educate our future students. So they are not going to, we don't want to train our students or equip them with capacities that are no longer needed in the workplace. So they are all connected. So once AI affects different things, and they also affect how you govern an organization or how you design and structure it. So although I have more than one topic, they are all related very closely. And when we look at AI and all the restructuring, one particular concept we always look at is creative destruction. And I think it's already working. So it's the original idea put up by Peter, is Australian economist, I believe. And then it's all happening again with the AI. And this is something historical, but it's all ongoing for a long time. This is the data from the United States. So we can see that actually we replace people from the agriculture with technology, and then we shift people to industry, and then later on we shift people to services. So AI is just a continuous process that keep creative destruction going on, but it is for the first time Many people argue that unlike the previous technology, AI is transformative, revolutionary in nature that is actually start to replace part of the functions or talents or capacities of human beings that have never happened before. So although we mention about creative destruction, but people, some scholars will argue that what we are seeing is much more disruptive than the previous wave of technological innovation. And we got many ideas to interpret what's happening, including the so-called disruptive technology and the sustained technology. And what I have right up there is just a photo of the first film human ever made. You can Google it in the internet. It's something very simple. But what we are seeing is a disruptive technology. And why I'm showing that is many people still have the argument about how disruptive is AI. So I just put up this photo to show you that when they first have the filming technology, they don't know how to do with that. And what they do is do a 20-second, I think the whole movie is the first movie. And there's have been an argument about who made the first movie too, but I'm not going to get into that. But the whole first movie is only 20 seconds. It's about a train, moving into the platform, and then it's sold in the circus, trying to amuse people. But definitely after that, people know how to adopt the filming technology much better. And now we have the Oscar, it become part of the human culture. So what I'm trying to say is that it may take time for a revolutionary technology to take effect. So we have to be prepared. It may take 5 to 10 years, but once it happens, we have to, we will see where widespread and revolutionary changes. So even for the filming technology, it takes years for them to find out how impactful they are in human life. Then what we are doing is also, some people call it 0 to 1. It's basically to create something out of nothing. It is the new something we have never seen before. Unlike globalization is just repeating certain things and then spread it and diffuse it across the whole world. So if you look at disruptive technology, basically we're changing one thing to another for the same purpose, but with a very different kind of technologies. And it takes some time for organization to adopt it. And one reason why it takes time for the new technology to adopt or to take effect is because it have to be adopted by human organizations. And we are all human. And we all resist to change to a certain extent. Some people embrace changes, but some people resist to change. And then organizations have to be structured, we confederate, and also we organize itself. So that's why the appearance or the rise of the technology and the effect, there may be a lag time. But if we don't make a preparation before the lag time, then some organization may fail. So it also affect the technology, also affect education. So I'm just start to tell the background before I zoom in. So for education is now, what we are talking about is personalized education under AI. And I particularly studied this report because I have read many OECD reports before. Many of them are actually written by economists. I'm not sure how many economists are here. I don't want to offend any economists. But typically, when you look at the OECD reports, they are very traditional. But with AI technology, that's how I say it. I show it to my student, everybody I know. It's just so radical. For OECD report, that's the conclusion with AI and technologies. They think that what will happen is dismantling of schooling as a social institution. It means that even universities, because we are a school, we will also face very massive changes with the AI. And with that in mind, there have been many reports that already tell us that humans are going to be disrupted. It may not be replaced, but the job is going to be gone. So humans have to pick up different technology, different capacities under the technology, and have to learn about human AI collaboration. So that what I have here is just a figure from World Economic Forum to tell you the prediction about how many tasks we have now are going to be replaced by AI and not to be done by human beings. So it's keep going. But I think the messages we receive from international organizations are much bigger than that. And it depends on who you look at. That's a wide range of petition, but for the majority of those petitions, particularly by international organization, included the IMF, International Monetary Fund, they describe it as a tsunami on the job market, and that will also affect how we train our students, because we don't want to train students with no jobs. And I think the IMF petition is something like 40% worldwide, and it varies among countries, and that's why it makes the study so interesting, because different countries, different organizations may react to it differently. And what I have on your right hand side is a internet me. I use internet me to teach a lot, because I think that is easy to arouse the common understanding of people, including my students. So the typical understanding is, and that's a campaign, right? I want AI to do my laundry and dishes so that I can do art and writing. Not for AI to do my art and writing so that I can do my laundry and dishes. And I actually tell my students that is not correct under the current AI technologies, because now AI do both with robots. AI do your writing and art. AI can also do your laundry and dishes. So that is going to be bad on organizations and in terms of replacing human beings. And there have been a lot of international statistics. Maybe I showed you this one, or which one is better? Maybe this one is better. The most recent wave of AI, particularly the GAI, generative AI, ChatGPT, DeepSeek, something like that, has transformed or revolutionized our understanding of how AI impact on organization and human labor. In the past, we think that's how we teach our children, right? You better study, you go to colleges, otherwise you cannot get a job. So that getting higher education is a pace to protect your job security. But with GAI, what is impact the most under the GAI is actually knowledge workers. They replacing doctors, lawyers, and actually, according to Bill Gates, where's Bill Gates? Okay, Bill Gates is here. In the most recent interview, I believe in Tonight Show, he also said that Bill Gates said that the GAI is going to replace, or AI in general is going to replace doctors and also us as teachers. So that's how I end my last the new course. Oh, I'm going to be unemployed because of GAI, because they're going to replace teachers. But actually, the story is much more than that. We have to change. We have to adapt. It's replacing the job, but not the people. So the people have to involve with AI. So, so the best, before I move to my literature review, I'm going to move into my literature review very soon. So the best understanding of how AI replaces human labor or their capacities. There are many frameworks out there, but the framework I usually refer to is in a book by a computer scientist. Is actually an AI expert called Lee Ka-Fu. He has a book called a very famous book called The AI Superpowers, and he has a framework there. You think that AI can replace people by understanding the 2x2 matrix. So AI will replace people jobs when there is a social, there's no interaction with human being, and the AI can replace people in jobs there is no creativity. That's how we have the danger zone. I sometimes tell people that that's the death zone. So you don't want to fall into there. Well, if you fall into there, you are not going to be as good as AI. So human beings is actually good for the dimension of creativity and also for the dimension of social intelligence. And that's how we should train our students on that part. And I'm moving into the literature review and the social workers. So that you can see teachers. So teachers is under, if you find that it's under human well-being, it's basically, but it's arguable. How he put up the profession subject is arguable. I just took the figure directly out from his book. Even I don't agree with all his classification of occupations, but at least his attempt. So you can see teachers is in the human well-being, meaning that human well-being mean that do I have you here? Meaning that actually it's human in terms of interaction, but deep down there is actually AI that's doing the job. That's what he mean by human well-being. And And then you can see social worker is kind of marginal. And one reason my literature review is about social service organization is mainly because I have a PhD student. I think many people have that kind of experience. Why you start that kind of research? Because I have a PhD student or very interested in learning about the impact of AI on social service organizations. So actually the literature review is part of her dissertation. So that is something I'm interested in on how AI replace human being or reinforce human being and impacts on organization and social worker is kind of marginal. So it's beyond safe zone, in between safe zone and human and need. And that's how Lee Kai-Fu think of that. So about AI and human collaboration. So that's a safe zone about creativity and social intelligence in which you have human plus AI. And then again, the so-called danger zone or death zone is completely taken up by AI. And he talked also about the future, about how we should deal with that. That's called the 3R strategy. But you can ask me during the Q&A. I'm going to not to discuss that much there. But in terms of education, that's something that I care about how we structure our education system, the content, the way we teach. And I actually didn't get that slide. And as I said, this is the second time I present this presentation. The last time I speak for the whole hour. I presented in Guangzhou, a very large city in Canton Province in the southern part of China, in the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. And then there's a professor raised a question about, because for the VR, we are talking about retraining and re-education. But when we talk about education, if you look at what James Chapman, an economist, Nobel Prize laureate, he actually mentioned that the most important education, the one that we invest the most is actually early education. So that I think another agenda I'm trying to look at is how we can restructure our education, help people so that we don't train people when they go out to the job market, they actually feel frustrated because all the jobs available that they can have skills about have been replaced by AI. So how we can restructure that is one of my research agenda. And actually, one of the reasons I try to make the presentation as early as possible is to let people know what I'm interested in, so that if you want to collaborate or discuss, we have plenty of time before I left on April the 27th. So that now I'm zooming into AI and social services. It's an area I'm also interested in. It's also the topic of my PhD students. She's actually a social worker. So that's why she's very interested in that. So in terms of the background, there have been some discussion in the literature because how AI replace human being, reinforce organizations, or disrupt organization have been a topic in anywhere, I think. And so social service organization are some of the organizations that have been well discussed. So there are many different core issues when you talk about AI and social services. And what I highlight is basically whether we can use robots to the well extreme to replace human and social service providers. But there are different issues we can look at. First is how good is the technology, and the second is preferences. And I think preferences is very interesting. Especially, I can tell you in the literature review, most of the literature review is actually conducted in the Western world, particularly Northern Europe, where they have the Scandinavian, where they have the welfare states. There are not that many conducted in Asia. We feel that the preference, I will show you in the last slide. I feel that the preference for a technology, or the resistance, the embrace, the welcomeness for technology is different across different parts of the world. So I believe that typically in Asia, we welcome the technology more, and typically in the reasons behind we can further discuss it. But typically in Western democracy or the Western world, the resistance to robot is relatively higher. So for the literature review, there may be some differences across the world, which is not captured by the literature review. Because the literature review, as I told you, I will tell you, the literature review is mostly about empirical studies done in the Western world. So the literature review is very simple. We would like to know about what are the benefits that are mentioned in using AI in service organization, and what are the challenges people face when they are doing the AI digital transformation. And finally, we try to look, we always look forward, and I'm actually from the field of public administration. We are very positive minded. We want to create positive differences. So the final questions we ask is any enablers, any factors that can help us to overcome those challenges, difficulties in order to achieve AI digital transformation in social service organizations. So that digital transformation is a very popular word, particularly in the business literature. It's all about radical changes in organizations with the help of technologies. So those are some of them are the key elements. So they look at the change process, technology integration, user-centric, and organizational impact. And the methodology of the systematic literature review, we follow the Bismarck framework, which is pretty standardized, and then we use the popular database as the source of that data. We look at the peer review articles from 2005 to 2024. And then we have some keywords we look at, and I think the last page is the keyword. So we search the keyword digital transformation, or just AI, automation, and the social service organization, social work, and all the popular keywords that will let us capture all the relevant studies about AI digital transformation. And I think initially we have more than 100 articles, but we screen out those which are not empirical, because we don't want to just include conceptual or theoretical papers. We want to include papers that have some empirical findings and insights, so that we kind of know that what is actually going on in the real world with the digital transformation. So ultimately, we come up with 18. There may be more in the future, but by the census deadline we have, which is 2004. 2024, we come up with the final selection is 18 articles. And I hope it's not going to be too small for you to look at, but as I say, I can share my PowerPoint with you. So for the benefits, it is pretty obvious. So they want it to support decision making, but not to replace decision making of social workers. That is quite understandable. Use it to enhance efficiency and to improve engagement, and not to replace engagement. So I think from the literature review of the Western literature, it's very important that all the benefits people expect to have with AI is all human-centric. They never say replace human in decision making, just reinforce human beings. And they also want to maintain, and that is some very strong findings in all the articles we review. They always want social workers not to be replaced in building up the engagement with another human being. That's so strong. I think that belief is so rooted in the professional norms as social workers or the training. And for the challenges, I didn't do a comparison with the previous literature, but I because my original field is e-government, digital governance. From my experience, they're so common. So in terms of how what are the challenges to incorporate ICT, information and communication technology, into organization, and now we have AI. They're pretty much the same. Including they worry about the ethics and the data issues, because with technology, data privacy is at risk, and they all feel the incompetence of doing data. So they, on the one hand, they feel that AI can be transformative, innovative, can help them a lot. But I think that one of the common issues of social service organization is the lack of money, the lack of manpower, and training investment take a long time, take a lot of resources. So they all worry about the competencies they have, of not just for them, but also for the client. Because that can be AI divide and also digital divide. So even you turn your services into AI, but if your service client don't have the ability to adopt or don't have the equipment, because a lot of AI services may have to be accessed by smartphone, you have to have fast data access, which may not be available for most service recipients. And they are also worried about reducing touch in services, the human connection. And they also have to deal with, as I mentioned, limited resources, all the complex service requirements. So that is tough for them. So in terms of looking at the futures, is the how they can overcome that. Is the enablers. What we find in the literature is pretty much the same. When you look at the previous wave of technology like microcomputer, social media, something like that. So they all worry about organizational and leadership commitment. That comes out a lot about leadership commitment. Or sometimes it's the frontline people want to change, but they don't have the necessary support, and there's a lack of communication between the top people and the frontline social workers. That comes up a lot in many studies about technology and organizations. And also, they worry about not being included in the process of AI digital transformation. That actually happens all across many different organizations. Many people worry that they will be replaced. There's lack of trust. The AI people just come in and steal the data and then do the transformation and then they are dismissed the next day. So there's a lot of trust issues going on. And there's also sometimes no clear goals for digitalization. Including in Hong Kong, I just ask my student about how is the AI digital transformation in your organization. Sometimes, it's the top people set the target. Oh, certain percentage of your service have to be delivered by AI. And why they have that target? Because in many organizations in Hong Kong, they are funded by the government. So many things are top down in China and Hong Kong. So some people set the top target and then you just have to meet the target for some reasons without really consulting the client and the people who do the work. So there's sometimes confusion about the key goals for digitalization. And then they also, again, worry about the suitable system. It's mainly because the system are not co-developed. Sometimes they contract out and then they get the system and the people have to change, not necessarily for the better service, but to change the web processes in order to be able to use that system. So a lot of time it's bottom top down and also one way dimension or not two way. So I think I have 7 more minutes. A lot of information again. So you know what I'm interested in, what I'm working on. So that if you can ask me question in Q&A, and we can continue our discussion after this workshop too. So that I'm thinking of a lot of questions from the literature review. Actually, the literature review only the first step. That's how I do the research. Whenever I work on a subject, I just do the literature review. Right? That's what we tell our graduate student, PhD student to do. So after the literature review, then we think about how can we contribute as a scholar to the current field of research after we learn what people have done on that. So I think I'm thinking about issues like how to have human AI collaboration, how to make sure the AI digital transformation process is simultaneous, both bottom up and top down. And I'm also looking on the differences across region, also generations, I think. Because for us, generation S, Y, C, blah, 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 now it's a generation C. They may have a different view about AI providing services for them. You may remember how much time they actually spend on social media instead of human interactions. So that the findings may change based on both generations and also by regions. So that's what I'm thinking of. So comparative study will be something interesting in. And another issues that come up to my mind about future study I can contribute is about the clash between technology and professions. I think the social worker is very human-centric. They believe in human beings. They believe the impact of one human being on another human being. And you have to introduce technology into the organization. It's so much difficult, especially if there's no trust or direct communication between the top management and different levels of management down to the service frontline service providers. So those are also the questions I have been looking at. And I also did some review, but I didn't show it here. But I showed some direct quotations about some theoretical discussion about AI and social service providers in the social work literature. There's some direct quote from them. So they believe what they're doing, the social work profession is a person in situation framework. I have no training in social work, so I don't know what exactly it means, but it comes up so much in the literature I review. So basically they think that individuals cannot be replaced in providing the services, and each individual, each person they serve are actually unique. so that it cannot be a request to a data set, which is an old data set. That's what AI do. You train the data AI with data set you collect, which is about not about the unique individual. It's about an average individual. You combine the data, and then it's also about something in the past, not the future. And I think that is something so different from the social work values and social work culture of the profession. I have been thinking those issues a lot about how to proceed and how we can make sure AI can be useful for some organization in the right way, but not in the wrong ways. So since I am spending time in the Ostrom workshop, so I'm thinking of how the Ostrom framework can help me to move ahead with the research agenda I have in mind. So that's something I'm thinking of. We need organizational and institutional changes. And the framework institutional analysis is not just about something static, but how to have successful changes so people can work together for a desirable outcome. So I'm thinking of in terms of how to set the rules that are useful for the digital transformation and how we can make sure that there will be shared values of belief in terms of co-design, co-creation, also co-innovation. Because it seems that for not just social work, I think for many public organizations, human is one of the most important elements in terms of the service delivery and production. So how can we introduce those elements into it, which facilitate a process of co-creation, co-innovation, or just include all the stakeholders in the process is very important. So that's something I'm thinking of, how we can combine AI research and also the wisdom of Ostrom in terms of institutional analysis. I'm still learning. And a lot of time, if you look at the literature, a lot of time technology and institutional change are linked together. Because technology is not adopted in one way that's called a technological determinism. Technology will lead to one changes only. Technology actually open up a lot of possibilities, and it actually require policy intervention. The economists call it intervention, but I want a more neutral word, maybe people involvement, in order to make sure that we pick the most desirable outcome out of all the possible outcomes of technological innovation. So how technology changed the world is actually also one of the research area of the previous the Nobel Prize laureate. And we don't want to see this. What we see this is a technology upgrade, which replace human being, but actually don't include everybody, don't enhance human being. Because in the book, I don't have the book here. Okay, right here, Power and Progress. By Darren Ascomo in MIT. In the book, they hate the self-checkout counter a lot. That's the worst way to use technology. I think he keep repeating it in every interview he said. Basically, that's new technology, but actually they fire the people. The cashier knows the job. And actually, they ask the customer, that's another million right here. They ask the customers to do the work. And that's why the gentleman working for the market said, oh, that's a self-checkout counter. And the lady said, no, I don't work here. The customer, you should not ask me to do the work and without a discount. So you actually do the work of the cashier, but actually you don't get paid. And the whole organization happens to be without human being. And that is the final slide I have. I hope I still have 1 minute on that. So the final slide I have is if you believe that AI filter through a human organization will lead to different possibilities, and we can do intervention to make sure we move to one possibility instead of the other one. I can tell you that it is very interesting, not just to look at different type of organization, but look at different type of countries. And because how people embrace technology, embrace AI, and resist AI varies so much across the world. And what I'm showing you is the latest report of, that's a report I highly recommend if you want to get an overview of what's going on in the AI world. It's called the Stanford AI Index. They just have the new report come out. They have it every year. They have so much money to do that. So they just have to touch 2025 report out a week ago. So I just picked this line from that. And basically, they are looking at whether people around the world agree on one statement: products and services using AI have more benefits and drawbacks. And I hope you can. I actually personally test it by standing at the end of the room. I hope you can see that. You can find just two countries, China and the United States, and you can find that although they are superpowers, competing with each other now, and we are having a trade war. And you can see China is ahead of the curve in terms of embracing technology. I'm not saying that embracing it is good. It may be bad, but I just trying to tell you that the whole world varies a lot in terms of how they look at the technology and embrace that. So that the China is almost at the top of the world, and maybe I can stand up to show you. China is about way up here, and then the thing is have more benefit than drawback. It's like almost at the top of the world, or according to all the countries they have. And unfortunately, I should not have any judgment, but for the United States, it is down here. You may be good, you may be bad. I just tell that the difference.
It's all good.
You may be good, maybe it's a foolish trend to embrace the technology. What I'm trying to say that if we study institutional changes under technology, we have a whole world of differences in which we can study and try to find out whether things is good or bad, or what are the implications of those things. And so I think I stop right here. And then if you have any questions, I'm very happy, we discuss them together. So I'll pass it back to Scott.
Fantastic. And I'm glad we did this during earlier in your visit too, because I mean, there's a lot that we can chew on together here. So
I welcome many questions. Yeah.
So our tradition is to give the first word to students. So if there's any
Sure.
you'd like to kind of kick us off, please feel we need more students in the room, so it's not so much pressure.
Can I have a clarification question?
Oh, sure, Gustavo. Yeah.
It's just about, this is an opinion survey, or it's actually how people are using this?
You just survey.
Yeah.
I think they did survey. They have a global survey. They ask certain number of people, random sample. Yeah, you just survey. Yeah.
So you are answering if you think that they have benefits and drawbacks, then you answer yes or no. Essentially, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
So they ask people to respond to this sentence, and then they aggregate the data. I think they may not have yes or no. Sometimes agree, disagree, and then they collapse the data. Yeah.
Okay. Questions? Excuse me.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
your talk is about social benefits. I mean, you're talking about the social side of AI, impact of AI on social services. That was your theme of your talk, correct?
I'm
trying to figure that out first.
Yeah.
I mean, AI is affecting everything,
yeah.
but you specifically in the title of your talk basically talked about the fact that this is, you're focusing on social services.
I'm focusing on the benefits to those organizations. So how is a survey, not a survey, a literature review of studies about social service organization and how AI can benefit those organizations.
And you think the impression is it's lagging behind other fields.
Oh, I would say that business is always ahead of everything.
Right.
But I think it's more than my impression, but in general, I think the pattern is for human services organizations, we are lacking because we have human, and for many organizations like Amazon, they only have robot. They almost only have robot in their warehouse. But in public organization, we always rely on human deliver the services. So that's why it is actually more complicated or more difficult to do the transition than a pure pure business organization. So that is typically the general consensus.
So I believe, yes, I'm the oldest person in the room.
Young at heart.
Yeah.
In some ways, I'm going to be more reliant on social services than the younger people in the room right now. And I'm like the shopper at the store. I don't want to go through the computer, the computer or check out myself. It's like when I want to see a doctor, I want to talk to the doctor. I don't want to have some machine interpret what I do, how I feel. And so I understand the fact that it's social services AI slower because I resist it.
Yep, the clients,
Yeah.
Mhm.
make it business language, the clients.
Mm.
want it.
Exactly, not patients. Like,
And in the literature review, let me find it. What we find is also in all the studies, they also worry about the reducing the human touch in social work services.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know which way this would make this swing, but we have, I don't know, a model, maybe a precedent for this with retail. Of how we've moved from brick and mortar stores to online shopping. But the thing that brick and mortar stores still emphasize then is an element of expertise in customer service, right? That just isn't present in the ease of online shopping. So I think that this model of how the clients are impacting whether or not we use a robot or a real life human being, the answer might be there. I mean, I don't know, online shopping did kind of win.
mhm.
Let me raise one point. I'm trying to find the slide.
Right on Black Friday from
In the US,
in the US at least, right?
not in Europe.
It's still,
Oh, is that fair? Yeah,
it still feels so great when you're at a store and somebody is taking care of you.
yeah.
You're like, oh, why don't I do this more often?
We worry about one thing, yeah. Why I did the study and looking ahead to other agenda. It's governments sometimes have a tendency to we all know under the Trump administration, they have a strong tendency to enhance efficiency, sometimes at the expense of some vulnerable population. Even in China, I can tell now they have the immigration. They're trying to develop something, use face recognition. I think they did that in Singapore. I visited Singapore a few months ago. You don't even have to show your passport. They recognize your face and they just walk through it without, yeah.
Super creepy.
And also even in China, they still provide personal, your personal services when you go through the border, but they shut down most of the counters. So even you want, human touch, human interaction, but if you don't switch, you will have to suffer in one way or the other. It's long waiting time.
Yeah, Angie.
So, I mean, since you're asking sort of steps forward and stuff, I would encourage you to think about tasks and then assign them to industry and think about tasks.
Okay.
Because I think I would suggest you find that, there's already a bunch of research in some of the particular
Yeah,
tasks.
yeah.
And then the question becomes, okay, if this task has already been replaced all these other places, why is it not occurring in this particular industry? If you're gonna work in industry or social service, it would be interesting to me if you could lump social services all together.
That's a good point. That's a good
So,
point, yeah.
the DMV, I could care less if I ever speak to a person again. The damn touchscreen makes me happy. Right? But my doctor is different,
Yeah.
a social worker is different, and I worry that industry all get inappropriately lumped together. And that's actually what I just heard you do in a comparison between Amazon and social work.
Yeah.
And there's tons of stuff that social work, if we just limited it to that very narrow industry, that would or could automate in the same way that Amazon does, right? Food delivery services. I mean, there are things. And so I would start from there. And I think you'll find a very rich, and maybe pick social work if you want, but define what the tasks are that a social worker is expected to do. And then find the places where that has in fact been automated or otherwise outsourced. And ask yourself why it is that social services are not, or social work is not embracing that. And then go through that because I think right now you're trying to lump so much in. I think this is several points. You're trying to lump so much in that I doubt a lot of what you're saying. And actually that's not fair because,
Okay.
you know what I mean? It's really not fair.
Okay, sure.
It is legit what you're right.
Mhm.
And so that's how I would do it. And that would give you a more robust way to
Mhm.
attack particular issues. And it would also allow the sort of tripart or whatever it was, to be more attached to things. Like, this is the absence of human touch. Like, my father would tell you the same thing. I stand in the Kroger line with the checkout lady, and I'm telling you, it's me and all the older people, and we have
Okay.
lovely conversations because they won't use the other screen. And I won't use the other screen because the other screen won't let me buy alcohol without.
Oh, yeah. Someone will come up.
Okay, so
Say, "Oh, I
my
see."
husband grabbed cigarettes.
Yeah.
Alcohol, we're using the check lady. So, but I have these wonderful conversations with older people who are like,
Yeah.
and there have been times where I've been like, you have 3 things, do you want me to help you? Right? And the answer is still no. They're actually enjoying talking to me.
Yeah, sure.
And so I think, or not, maybe they think I'm a crazy, creepy person. But I've seen my poor dad try to figure out how to enter his card and what do I have to do? And then he's got to call a person and things start buzzing and he's done. And never going back. My favorite is when he writes a checkout while we're standing places. I just sort of tweet. Okay, so that's what I would do is I would do, and I think that would give
That's
you
a good, that's a good, yeah.
you have a lot of the work already done. But I think you pair it up a little
Yeah.
clearer and then you.
That's a good suggestion, yeah. And for the doctor, when you talk to the, AI people, including Bill Gates, their world is just so different from many of us.
Oh,
They
yeah,
think
no.
the AI can replace everything, including doctors in a standard interview.
Except you talk to these
Yeah.
people and they think.
It's a real
exactly,
interview. Yeah,
none
all
of
over the
them
place.
Actually using it because they're terrified of the privacy. They're actually not using it. They're happy that we use it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They are not using it themselves.
Somebody's up for that. I've got lots of hands, which is terrific, right? And I don't know the order, so I just work our way down. Okay, maybe Deanna, let's start and we'll work our way around.
Your presentation, I think I saw a lot of the classic questions of the history and sociology of technology.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Example, the work leisure distribution, that yes, at the end, we are not working less, although that was the promise of machines.
Oh, yeah, that's all.
That was the whole point, to work less, but no, work has been extended. And not only in hours, but the type of work we do. We do the work of 4 or 5 people in just one day, like 4 different heads we have to turn every time. But leisure has also been transformed in ways that our leisure is also mercantilized. It is not about social, it's individualized. You have to pay, you only have 25 minutes to watch an episode of a Netflix series, and that's what we understand as leisure today. Also, the issue of innovation. A lot of this literature pays attention to how there's innovation in certain fields, but not in others. And the classic example is the speculum. Like for women's health, there's really no technological innovation. Well, you can do, nano surgeries from a distance with a robot while you are on a ship I don't know.
Sure.
Like innovation happens in certain areas and not. And all of this is because some of the things that, of course, you mentioned that have to do with the context, with the political interest, with the system that we have in place, institutions and all of these. I thought I wanted to ask you about the issue of trust, because I think that also from that literature, we know that these technologies are not neutral and that they in themselves are political tools. Like maps were a tool for conquest, so maps were never neutral. And I think we can say the same for AI. A lot of it is about surveillance. So the distrusts come from the militaristic surveillance behind many of these technologies. So I wanted to ask.
So trust is a very important issue because the AI need data to work. You actually need data to train the AI. Including if you want the AI to be able to do operation, you need to get the operation data from human doctors. But now there's a major issue of mistrust in every part of the world. But if you look at China, the trust is higher. But if you look at the Western world, but that is actually not true, because if you look at Japan, that's another survey. It's called the Elderman Trust Barometer. They have a global trust survey. Again, something very interesting, like the last PowerPoint I saw. China, Singapore, trust in everything is so high. But in US, Western world, trust in everything is very low. But interestingly, if you look at Japan and South Korea, which is actually part of Asia, the trust is very low. You may, if you pay attention to what happened in South Korea, they just successfully impeached the president.
Yeah.
And I joke, I have so many Korean students, I joke with them, I'll never become the president, they know about that. No president, in South Korea have a happy ending. Some of them die, suicide, quote unquote, in jail. So trust is actually, but not too many, I feel so disappointed, not too many literature by the IT people, AI people actually talk about trust. They actually think of getting the data not by earning the trust of people, but maybe by political means. That is actually very scary. If you search, if you Google it. Now under Trump, they have a new AI. First of all, he revoked everything because I originally studied AI model under Biden. And now under Trump, they reverse everything. I have a research project in which I have to apply for extension, and the person who approved the decision asked me why. I told you that the US is now very different under Trump, and then he signed it. So under Trump, they have a new initiative. I think it's called the Stargate. Or it's actually use the money of the private sector, including OpenAI. And I tell my students that is something weird. You know, business people invest trillions of dollars in something and they work with the government, but they use their own money, but not ask the money of the government. That's weird. And then one day I picked up something, I think either New York Times or Washington Post, Sam Altman, which is the CEO of OpenAI, tried to ask the US administration to get some copyright data. So that I worry that the right way, if you go to the literature, the most desirable way is to earn the trust, so people share the data with you. But I worry that they may get the data in other way around, just like they are getting the social security data. They may just approach the government and get the data anyway. So trust is the good element, but they may do it through the back door. That's what worries. Yeah.
There's the two finger, but your answer is going back to you're going general again. Your topic was social services or maybe social work. That trust in that data sharing is a much different conversation than a conversation about data that's copyrighted, so I suggest you really say hyper focus because you're talking about medical information.
Sure.
Yeah, my wife and I had this conversation this morning. I was like, hey, if something happens to you, do I get your counseling practice? And she's like, obviously no, because we were talking about like, it's gotta be set up for somebody that's HIPAA protected. I know nothing about HIPAA, nor should I have any access. And like, yeah, so I think, are you talking about a therapist that's a social worker? Because that's what they are. Some are, and then others work in like more of a rehabilitation setting. Others are more, sort of in an action role. So there's very different industries within social work.
I like the description, action.
And they have very different.
It's
Yeah,
true.
I mean, yeah, they're very action oriented. So, yeah, so I think some of these could be split across the whole thing.
And following up on your remarks, I think here you have jobs. And jobs have different tasks. So I'm not sure how useful this distinction is. So as a teacher, I have a tissue box for PhD students who have hard times. That's not to be replaced by humans, but marking essays, I think AI could do that even better and more reliable than I can. So distinguish between these different aspects of the different task, and then you'll see some outreach social workers, and you see that 50% of their work is just filing paperwork, and that's what the AI could do. So this distinction between jobs is not very useful. Focus on task and also make up of a job from a set of different tasks. And that allows us, I think, in our role to focus more on the human side as teachers, but also as social workers, than on the administrative side. Second point I wanted to raise is that your final slide might also be about AI exposure to some extent. So my view on AI changed remarkably since I have been using ChatGPT. I think that's since 1.5 years. I was not very trustful, but now I think it's a very good friend who understands me better than my wife does. So that's a change that has been to me.
That's to add a point. So I agree with the recommendations that we have to go specific about the task. So actually, as I mentioned, it is part of my PhD student project. So the next thing we will do is actually to do a survey or interview the social workers. In that part, I think we can break down, what they do every day, to put down all the tasks they have. And then we will ask the second question, to what extent those tasks they identify can be augmented or replaced. I think that's the degree or the spectrum. Some of them can be done 90% by AI, but some of them is just supportive.
And how do they use it?
Yeah.
Elements, but also how do they use it?
Yeah, that's a
It
good
would be
point.
very useful to have a survey or some qualitative with us of how we as professionals use AI, in which stages of the work and so on. I think that's also not only
Yeah, that's a
with
good.
thoughts, but also how actually do you use it? Yeah.
And are the agencies putting out guidance for how their employees should be using it or not?
That's another good point, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really fruitful time to be looking at this, as we mentioned. I mean, this is part and parcel of what DOGE apparently is seeking, right? They're undercutting a lot of especially the public sector workforce, and they're trying to replace a lot of them with, as far as I can tell, AI tools and chatbots, right? So you're entering into the discussion, I think, at a time where there's gonna be a lot of interest, and the extent you could do comparative stuff here. And
Oh, yeah, I
all right,
love
well,
that.
here's how it's
I love that,
working in
yeah.
Hong Kong in this given sector, in this given way. Here's what it can't do. I mean, I think you'd find an interesting audience. As we're saying, though, I mean, this is a book, right?
Yeah, that's why something on my mind too. That's something on my mind too, yeah, and we can always do collaborate to compare, Asia, the US. I think those will be very interesting data.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah, and I'd imagine there's folks in SPIA and public affairs who really focus on different ways to differentiate various aspects of the public sector writ large, like you're trying to do.
Right.
So we can maybe reach out to some colleagues that can figure out, what is the best practices for doing.
Social work is just only one of the major public organizations.
Sure.
It can be
Yeah.
police, fire
Yeah.
services.
There's a ton, right? That's part of the issue, yeah. And it's a big difference when it's a chatbot
Oh,
for a given
IRS.
state agency versus
Oh, yeah.
a virtual doctor.
Yeah.
Super helpful, cool. We just have a few minutes left, Natasha. I know we didn't get to you yet.
So my aunt works for San Jose State and she helped host a conference that was so similar to this. And it was on the way that they could develop AI ethically. And because she works in the Department of Health and Human Services, her part was a lot on that. And one of the discussions that they kept having, which kind of had come to the conclusion that you mentioned, that there's a gap widening that's likely to happen between those who can be served by these services and those who are excluded because of it.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of people see this as like revolutionary, where you get your own personal physician and your own personal therapist and all of this, and they know you better than your wife and all of that. But that doesn't apply to everybody evenly. But some of the pushback when I was thinking this through is this is like a short to maybe medium term analysis, right? And nobody's expecting you to be Nostradamus, but the inherent dynamism of AI is sort of like the essential puzzle piece that I feel like needs to be addressed in this. Like, how do you know what the pushback is going to look like if there's pushback? How do you know that AI doesn't circle back around and find ways to include these people just by the way that it's evolving? And this is kind of a weird thing to bring up, but it made me think about when we were talking about like robustness of jobs moving forward. It made me think about people hiring cuddlers, like professional cuddlers, because human contact is so like we are lacking it so much because of developments like this. And so, yeah, just sort of like the circularity and also just like the exponential trajectory that we can't figure out. And so I was kind of wondering how you're thinking through this temporal dynamic.
I'm thinking of it about the market and society. I worry that those people are going to be eliminated by government because of the budget crisis, which is actually around the world. So that I worry that those if you can pay, you can have all the human services you can have. But for those underclass, I'm thinking of social exclusion under technology.
So like human access becomes like
They are going to be, it's kind of scary to me, they're going to be excluded. Unless you pick up the technology or you have the money to pay, because it seems that all the government are downsizing. They put the budget up first, they don't want to raise taxes now, they have to put the money on the defense, like what is pushing around the world. Trump is pushing around the world, everybody is going to increase their military spending.
that's such an
Where they can get the money to, serve those people.
It just sounds like such an inversion of the way that I think about AI almost, where there's a premium on human contact.
Yeah.
Rather than like AI right now is like cutting edge and like if you have the money to have ChatGPT, not everybody has $20 a month to access it.
Yeah.
But, like, watching that
Yes.
switch is quite interesting.
Yes, actually, I think as a scholar, what we put out is some findings to inform the dialogue, because in the same interview about Bill Gates, he's actually used the term fear intelligence. If in terms of AI is free for everybody, my immediate reaction is, oh, you have to pay to have ChatGPT, or you only have the trial version, which is not the real thing. So why did he use fear intelligence? It's not fear at all. So we have to inform the dialogue to make sure that they are actually looking at the realities, but not something fancy or faced by the millionaires or billionaires. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, on that positive note, thank you.